Humanity's really underestimating what this is actually going to do for the next generation. Whatever happens, our society is heading towards dopamine overload. We can't forget about the other chemicals: oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins.
How do we get more serotonin in the gut?
Addiction to work, addiction to money, smartphone, social media.
When you put it in that way, it's like borderline offensive.
You look at work from home and how that would be affecting oxytocin levels within a workforce because they're no longer hanging out and having those brief conversations. And
every parent listening now can relate to this.
If we nailed sugar and social media, we would be a completely different species.
Bad email coming. Get down and give us 10.
Yeah, that's how you can treat your whole workforce.
Welcome to the Business Growth Podcast, powered by ActionCOACH UK, the world #1 in business coaching. Since 1993, we've helped thousands of business owners and entrepreneurs worldwide smash through their limits and achieve extraordinary results. This is more than a podcast, it's your blueprint for success. So grab a pen and paper, take notes, and make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell for weekly growth insights. Let's do this.
ActionCOACH, the help you need to grow your business.
What if the biggest challenge facing your success isn't your competition, your team, or even your strategy, but your brain? Today's guest is TJ Power, neuroscientist, author, and founder of Dose Lab. At just 28 years old, he's already shared the stage with names like Jay Shetty, and his research is transforming how we think about mental health, technology, and performance. His work breaks down the 4 key chemicals that drive motivation, connection, mood, and stress. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, distracted, or glued to your screen, this episode could change the way you see yourself, your habits, and your future. Get ready, you're about to learn how to reclaim your brain with TJ Power.
This episode is sponsored by CWCS Managed Hosting, empowering businesses to thrive with tailored, fully managed hosting solutions delivered with a personal touch. Now back to the podcast. We good to go. 28 years old, TJ, and you are already rubbing shoulders with the great. We've got your book here, TJ Power, Jay Shetty on the front, and you've been on his podcast.
I have, yeah. Jay's a great guy.
All right, so we've got a dose of TJ Power today.
We do. I'm excited.
We do. What's your specialism?
I would say my specialism is helping humanity understand their brain from the context of how the modern environment is impacting it, specifically technology. I think tech is having a monster effect on the experience we have in our brains, and teaching people how to manage it is my goal.
When we say technology, can we narrow that down?
I would say phones, specifically a smartphone, social media, addiction to work, addiction to money and finance and checking all of those aspects, addiction to email, effectively the inability to switch off and decompress and be present and rest.
Talk to me about the ability to switch off.
It's just so crucial for our brain.
Why?
My whole world with Dose Lab, this research lab we've built, it's all built on an idea called Evolutionary Mismatch, the premise that the human brain spent 300,000 years running around in nature, and we've spent about 30 years as these modern sedentary digital humans. And for 99% of human history, we would do hard things. We'd do what's called chasing dopamine, hunting and building shelter and starting fires. But we'd also spend huge amounts of time leisurely, napping, connecting, laughing, sitting around the fire, eating. And there was this nice balance between hard work and chilling out. Now it's just mass stimulation from when we wake to the moment we sleep. Some of it's not hard work, but it's hard work for our brain to manage, and that's exhausting for us.
Is overwhelm more apparent now than ever?
Oh, 100%. People are so
no, but
overwhelmed.
Is that a fact? Because 98% of the statistics are made up. So, all right, maybe that statistic as well. I'm just copying someone. But is that a fact that we're more overwhelmed than we've ever been?
Well, it depends on the research you'd look into, because you could, for example, ask a chap that was in World War I, are you feeling pretty overwhelmed? I'm sure he was very overwhelmed. So there'd be definitely differing scales.
Which does tell us, though, the situation that you're in has a huge impact on your state and mentality, doesn't it?
For sure. Regardless, we see in our data at Dose Lab that people are describing life as extremely overwhelming, as if there's too much bombardment of information and things to do, and that's challenging for them.
When you say data Dose Lab, what is this lab?
Yeah, so we're running it. We do our latest study was with Southampton University, where we've built a dose intervention, which is a training method that will take you on a journey over a 30-day period to optimizing these 4 chemicals. And it takes you through completing daily challenges. And then we're measuring specific metrics across people's well-being, mental health, sleep, relationships with their phones, all those kind of things, to see whether this intervention creates change.
Okay, so just give us it in a nutshell first. We'll dig into each one. So the listeners don't know anything we do. So DOSE, what's DOSE?
So DOSE is an acronym for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Each one has a specific function for us in our brains, which we can dive into.
Yeah, just give us the sort of nutshell. Dopamine is for?
Motivation. Oxytocin is to connect us with one another. Serotonin is to lift our mood. And endorphins are to de-stress our brain.
Do you know, I've got a personal story on oxytocin because my wife, we had twins.
Oh,
we had
congrats.
a cesarean section.
That's so cool.
There was a real complication, though, with at birth because the doctors had forgot to hook the oxytocin into my wife's veins. And it wasn't hooked, and oxytocin was pouring out all over the table. But when you give birth, you naturally produce oxytocin, but when you have a C-section, you don't.
Yeah.
So there's no oxytocin going in there.
Wow, and how does she manage? Because oxytocin helps with pain and it helps with the initial relationship with the baby.
Yeah, and blood clotting and all of the stuff that goes with it afterwards. So it was a complication. But what I did, I learned a lot about oxytocin in the moment because of that.
It's a very, very powerful chemical. Arguably the most powerful chemical. It's designed to create humanity.
Why do you say arguably the most?
I think it's the chemical that deep down humans are actually looking for most. We're looking to procreate and have families and raise children and care for people and contribute to society. That's really deep in our wiring. In our modern environment, we've become completely obsessed with dopamine, and we're now living in what I describe as dopamine land. We're living in a world where that's really dominant in our brains. But the deepest emotion, the most positive emotion someone can experience is love. It's not reward from hard work.
I interviewed a lady, Mary Ruddick. She was from America, specialist in hormones.
Cool.
And she talked about oxytocin when you're in the workplace because you develop strong relationships and strong bonds with people because you solutionize problems.
Yeah, nice.
And part of doing that with someone, you create a connection. But oxytocin is part of the chemicals that are being released.
It is.
And then you develop this bond with people, and it's oxytocin that's doing it.
Oxytocin is biochemically what's creating the relationship between you and the coworker. And this is where I'm so fascinated by the modern environment because, say, for example, you look at work from home and how that would be affecting oxytocin levels within a workforce because they're no longer hanging out and having those brief conversations and hugging one another and making proper eye contact and listening. And all these little things are stacking up to create these challenges in the brain. Oxytocin in the workplace is very important.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and the lady did say it's responsible for why some couples sometimes break up as well.
For sure. If the oxytocin begins to fade, there's going to be very little love.
Well, it fades
there.
at home, but then strengthens with someone else at work.
Yeah, precisely. And that's tricky. And that is often a situation is people leave for a coworker.
Yeah. All right. So, look, we've got these 4, and you set daily challenges.
Yes.
So, why is this daily challenge such an important habit?
I think it's overwhelming sometimes the amount of different health advice we're receiving, and I think it's so good that humans are now conscious of health.
This is actually both mental and physical health that we're talking about here.
This is our whole physiology, our whole brain chemistry. All of it is getting impacted, and I think it's very good to have one small thing you're aiming for each day so you consistently are making progress towards a goal. Because some people might think, I'm going to get really into health, and it's like, okay, I've got to cut out all ultra-processed foods, and I've got to get my sleep perfect, and I can't go on my phone anymore, and I have to quit alcohol. And it's like, whoa, that's a little bit much to try and manage all that at once. Whereas if you start with nice little daily challenges and orient towards a goal, it seems to be more efficient.
Okay, so what kind of challenges should we set the listeners right now? If we're going to do a 30-day challenge on each of these 4 areas, what challenge and why are we going to set for dopamine?
Yeah, so 100% for dopamine, we'd call it phone fasting. And this is the idea of fasting from our phone. And Our phone, in my opinion, is the thing that's the biggest challenge society faces. I think if you look at the mental health rate in society, we always had access to different things that were disruptive to dopamine. Cigarettes and alcohol, for example, are very disruptive. But our mental health was significantly better, even with the consumption of those. When the phone was introduced, 2010s, then 2015, 2020, it got big because of COVID. It got big in COVID because TikTok invented short form video. All the platforms copied, and that's when we all got addicted because it delivered dopamine to the brain unlike anything ever had before.
Did they deliver short form before YouTube?
They did, yeah. Technically Vine were first, but Vine for whatever reason didn't manage to succeed. There you go. And TikTok delivered the first ever short form fast changing video feed. And then Instagram Reels copied, and Facebook Reels and YouTube Shorts, and they all cloned. But that really is when the relationship with the phone changed, because suddenly you could experience monumental amounts of dopamine, which is very addictive. The unlimited scroll. And
my kids do it, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that with any shame or with any pride, by the way.
Yeah,
but
it's part of life.
I've got twins that are 9. I've got a 7-year-old as well, and I can see it happening. I can observe it on a daily basis.
It's really challenging because dopamine is this unbelievably important resource to your future, because it gives you the capacity to find a goal and attack the goal and focus on the goal. And that could be anything. For a 9-year-old, it might just be like managing to learn something in school, managing to retain some piece of information, play well at sport. As you grow into teenage years, it's academic stuff, and then it's getting a job. Without that resource sitting in your brain, you can't do anything. And this is why there's this huge terminology now within teenagers called rotting or brain rot, where they lie in bed and they can't convince themselves to do anything at all. And it's because dopamine rot
is that what brain rot is? I've heard the phrase, but I've never known what it is.
Yeah, brain rot is the idea of just reaching a point where you've consumed so much low value short form video, that's how it's described, that you can't get yourself to do anything at all. You're just lying there and you're like, I need to do something, but there's no will inside me.
So what starts initially as dopamine, like a motivational effect, I've seen a diagram that you show as well. It has, you then go into a low mood state.
Yeah, your dopamine goes below what's called your baseline level, like your natural mode of production. And then because this is the motivational chemical, even to the point of being able to initiate movement, dopamine creates that. There's a relationship between Parkinson's and dopamine, the change in movement patterns. And you can reach a point where it's like, hey, I know I need to do my exams or clean my house or go and play some sport, but you just can't get yourself to do it. And humanity's really underestimating what this is actually going to do for the next generation, because they're going to be so low on dopamine that they're going to be missing the vital resource that enables them to contribute to society.
But for all of the, the entrepreneurs that are listening, the leaders, the managers, people that are aspiring to be successful in the workplace, what we're recommending here for dopamine?
Definitely, so to return to that idea, this phone fasting point, because when you wake up in the morning, your brain is instinctively craving dopamine. For our ancestors, that gave them the innate desire to restart the fire, build a shelter, hunt, forage, and so on. Wherever it finds that first source from, it's going to be like, nice, that's my direction for the day. I'm going to use that as my dopamine source. When we wake up, we all open our phone straight away and we check our email, socials, WhatsApp, whatever it might be. Our brain is then pre-programmed from the moment we wake to think, okay, that's my dopamine source. So then all day when we're trying to do productive things, our brain is constantly getting this like urge and this pull back towards the phone. Phone fasting would be ultimately reaching a point where you actually don't go on your phone for the first 30 minutes of waking, which is a challenging journey to reach the point where it's 30 minutes, but we work towards it.
What you've made me really appreciate is the first source of dopamine in the day. If it's not going to be the phone, what should it be? Should it be your self-development? Should it be your goals for the day? Should it be how you're going to get the best out of yourself today? A meditation or what?
Very simply, it'd just be something that's hard, and that can be personal preference, anything that's hard. So brushing your teeth is a boring activity that's arguably hard. Well, to some people, actually brushing for 2 minutes is like too much for them to manage, too boring, and they just like rush through it and they scroll their phone whilst they do it.
Get some tasks done.
Splash cold water on your face, make your bed, do 10 press-ups, do your meditation would be beautiful for your brain. But it's just your brain needs to learn that the effortful path is the one for you, not the easy path.
That's beautiful. The effortful path is the one for you. All right.
And then it's programmed for that throughout the day. So when you're sitting there at your desk and you think, oh, this task is getting a little bit too difficult, I'm about to need to just like click on LinkedIn because that would be kind of somewhat productive, or go back on my email and just pull out of the effort. The more you train yourself to pursue the effortful path, the better your life will become.
The effortful path.
We need the effortful path. Our ancestors literally had to do so much effort.
But that's got to be the first source of dopamine. That's what I really want to labour on right now for the listeners.
Yeah.
That's your first source of dopamine. In fact, the science that proves when you do something that's, because all human beings seek pleasure and avoid pain at any given opportunity as well. So we seek the form, which is pleasure.
Yeah.
When you go down this effortful, it's a tongue twister, that, isn't it?
Yeah, effortful.
Path. When you go down there, you develop a part of your brain in your prefrontal lobe that makes you stronger and more disciplined, and the persistence gene, you know, CEO living in there and all this kind of thing. Yeah, you develop a strength in your brain. And have you heard of Daniel Coyle?
I don't think I have.
He wrote a book called The Talent Code.
Oh, okay.
You heard
That's
of
a cool name. I haven't.
Yeah, and have you heard of myelin?
Yes, of course.
So myelin sheaths that form in neural pathways in your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talks a lot about that in the book. I mean, even Tony Robbins, you know, brought Daniel Coyle onto stage with him type thing. So,
okay.
I mean, his research was incredible on world-class kind of people that myelinated the brain by doing exactly what you said there, which is go the effortful path first.
We have to do that. And there's really new research in this whole willpower and tenacity aspect of science, where there's this area of your brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. People call it the AMCC. Anytime you do something you don't want to do, it activates and strengthens. So say, for example, you don't want to turn your shower cold at the end, but if you made yourself do it, your AMCC would activate and strengthen. This area of the brain is seen as larger when you look at brain scans when someone has pursued a life that has either led to extreme high performance or when you research super agers that have gone past 100 years old, because they've done more things they didn't want to do. And it's so important from a brain chemistry point of view to do things you don't want to do, which sounds weird, but in the modern world of pure pleasure, pain is actually the answer.
See, guys listening, the more you go take that path early in the morning, guys, first source of dopamine in the morning, what's going to happen is your AMCC is going to grow and grow. It's going to get stronger and stronger. And we'll take a brain scan now and a brain scan a month from now, and that part of your brain is going to be stronger. And so are you.
For sure. Smarter decisions will be made, better life will be created.
Okay, that's dopamine. Oxytocin.
So this is connecting humans together. It's creating the capacity for us to experience the emotion of love. And we can experience this both from the perspective of giving love to other people, experiencing love between you and someone, or also the love you have for yourself in your own brain, something that often we have not a lot of. And it's something that is getting kind of pushed aside in the pursuit of dopamine. To give you a simple example, if you lie in bed with your partner and you both scroll your phones instead of talking to each other or cuddling or being intimate, in that moment you're choosing dopamine over oxytocin. And oxytocin is what deeply fulfills a human. Dopamine just drives the desire for more. And it's really important to start considering, like, in your day-to-day life, when you're with your kids, your family, your co-workers, how often are you now choosing dopamine over oxytocin?
When you put it in that way, it's like borderline offensive. Because it's a bit of a low blow, really. It's like when you're lying in bed at night, folks, and you're choosing to scroll, you're choosing dopamine now.
Yeah.
But it's when you realise that you've got a choice, that's the empowerment part, isn't it?
For sure. And it's I don't say these things from the perspective of like, oh, I'm perfect. The only reason I have learnt these things is because I'm so hooked on dopamine that I've had to build a lifestyle to manage it effectively.
I know that you're not perfect because I've been watching some of your reels and some of your things that you share, and you're doing these challenges too. You're working on this stuff.
Them. And it will be a lifelong journey. Eventually they're going to bring out augmented reality glasses. I'm going to sit here and be like, this is the new strategy to manage the addiction to these glasses. Like, it would just be, whatever happens, our society is heading towards dopamine overload. We can't forget about the other chemicals. If you look biochemically at dopamine, it really isn't designed to ever make you feel full. That's why no amount of money or success ever makes you feel like, yes, it's complete. Whereas love does make you feel full. When you hold a newborn baby, you don't think, I need loads more newborn babies. You just think, oh, cool, a newborn baby.
You're a bit of a geek now on this stuff, aren't you? I mean,
I love it.
Did you study all this at university, or where did this come about?
Yeah, I did psychology at A-level, then psychology at university. Began adding neuroscience to that world and clinical psychology as well into my master's. And then got a chance to build a lecture series when I was in my fourth year at university, and it was deep diving into neuroscience.
God, look, you're only 28 now. Imagine what you're going to be, the force that you're going to be making in this world when you're 40.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's see. See if you can control your dopamine.
That is my biggest thing I've got to try and manage.
You're getting married next year as well.
Getting married next year. I'm also having a baby.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, you better start choosing oxytocin over dopamine.
I know. And when that baby comes, I'm going to be faced with those moments where you think, oh, I'm so sick of hearing this baby cry. I just want to scroll my phone.
As stupid as this sounds, every parent listening now can relate to this. When you're in the park and you choose your phone rather than presents with your kid playing on the slide or the swing, you're choosing dopamine over oxytocin.
You are. And sadly, your kids can feel it. They so acutely can feel it.
They're watching you.
Yeah, because they're programmed to watch you and imitate you.
Hey, we're both punching the audience.
And I'm going to have this struggle myself. Like, I don't doubt when I have the kids that it's going to be extremely hard to manage it.
All right, we've got oxytocin, serotonin.
So this chemical is interesting. 90% of it is being generated in your gut, inside the intestinal lining of your gut. And this really wants your body to be functioning extremely well. We have these 12 cranial nerves that connect our brain and our body together. And one of them, called the vagus nerve, connects them together. The vagus nerve is reading the state of your gut. If there's an abundance of serotonin in there, your mood's going to be pretty good. Your energy is going to be nice and stable. If there is not a lot of serotonin, which is extremely common now, it's very rare that someone would have a good level of serotonin.
How do we get more serotonin in the gut? That's what everyone's thinking right now. I want more serotonin.
Yeah, so step one is your gut health, so in terms of the nutrients you consume. Whenever you consume foods that were here on Earth before we got here, so all of your meat, fish, fruit, veg, eggs, yogurt, dairy, honey, nuts, all of the different things that are naturally occurring in the world are going to help generate serotonin within your gut. You then have the ultra-processed food component of this, whereby we're hooked on all of this fast option food that's full of artificial ingredients. They're very toxic to the gut, so when they enter the gut, the serotonin is like, oh my God, this is a nightmare. Serotonin reduces as the body tries to detoxify the ultra-processed food. What
happens if some of the listeners, for more than 10 years, have been choosing the wrong route?
For sure.
Can you reverse this pretty quick?
Rapidly. The body adjusts so fast to change, and the moment you eat one apple, it's like, okay, there's some good bacteria that are going to help us with serotonin. The moment you do, say, 24 hours without an ultra-processed food, big change would happen in your gut just in 24 hours. And that's a good challenge to set yourself. It's like, could you, from tomorrow morning, try and do one day where you don't eat anything that's full of artificial ingredients? You just look at the backs of packets. If there's loads of weird chemical words on there, it's an ultra-processed food. If there's no words on it, because it's a banana or a piece of meat or fruit or egg or so on, then it's a natural food. Gradually, after 7 days, big change will occur. Your gut bacteria starts craving the more natural foods, starts craving the ultra-processed foods less.
Pure eating. It's pretty simple, isn't it? I mean, we want to choose a natural occurring meal rather than a pack of crisps.
Yeah, and that is basic, but it's also just like, we're getting so tolerant to choosing the unnatural way now, where it's like, oh, I'll just have a few crisps and I'll just like be on my phone all the time.
Well, it becomes a habit as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's so fair. Like, it's cheap, it's fast, it tastes good. Like, it's all the things that we'd want it to be. But unfortunately, the modern world is an environment where we have to make smarter decisions.
Jim Rohn, what did he say in the past? He says an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
I mean, an apple a day is good for you.
Yeah, choose the apple over the Hershey bar, he said, which is a chocolate bar.
Yeah, I mean, that will annoyingly have some ingredients that wouldn't be so good. And it also wears the dopamine out because of the overstimulation.
Oh, all right. So,
like the phone does.
So not only are you not getting this serotonin pumping up the vagus nerve, you're also alleviating dopamine as well.
Yeah, because anything that's just very, very stimulating creates rapid pleasure, causes this spike in dopamine and then a subsequent crash. So it's like you might think, oh, I really need like a Coca-Cola whilst I'm working to keep me focused, or you might need some sugar to keep me focused, but you're only needing it because you're crashing from the previous time you had it.
Clearly then there's a link between sugar.
Yeah.
And, everybody knows about the, sugar high and sugar low. Most of us know about be aware of that, but less aware on the dopamine.
Definitely. And I really see it from all of my last 10 years of research as sugar and social media are the two biggest things for humanity to learn to manage. If we nailed sugar and social media, we would be a completely different species. But sadly, they've got us by the balls right now.
Get this down on your pens and paper now. Sugar, social media, take the 30-day challenge.
But even if it's just more balanced and like more natural sugar, like you put honey on your food instead of putting like sugar, like put honey in your coffee instead of sugar in your coffee, just a more natural path and just slightly less frequent social media checks. It doesn't have to be like black and white, you have to quit all this stuff, but just steering in a better direction could help your brain chemistry a lot.
It certainly could. Well, let's go on to E.
So E is endorphins. Endorphins is a really cool chemical. They're here to de-stress our brain when we're under extreme load.
Calmness.
Psychologically. Yeah, they chill us out. And originally we didn't have what we now refer to as micro stresses, where you have lots of little things stressing you out all day. For our ancestors, stress was much more clear and intense.
We ain't got any food.
Yeah, haven't got any food, so we've got to spend all day hunting, or getting chased by a bear, got to run fast, hide, fight, climb, whatever it might be. In that moment where your body had to start physically exerting, endorphins would come through the brain and body to take stress out of your thought process to enable greater likelihood of surviving. Nowadays, what happens is we effectively experience stress and we remain dead still, and we're swallowing stress into our body while there's no endorphins to actually let it back out of us. And you can see biochemically, we literally need to imagine that when you're stressed and you have one of those days you feel quite pissed off and annoyed and stressed out, you need to physically get it out of you through movement. And this is also why you see kids with iPads, after a few hours on the iPad chasing the dopamine, they get the iPad taken away and they physically erupt. And it's because their body is actually trying to get endorphins to release because they've had such a sedentary moment. So this sedentary lifestyle is very stressful for the brain.
Okay, we need to combat that though.
Yeah.
So tell us how.
So we just need to have this premise of like, okay, so if I know a stressful day is coming, I need to have done something in the morning that's going to help physically release this. Could be as basic as walking or stretching. When it can be the gym, that's amazing. Gym workouts are going to be super, super useful. If neither of them are an option, even singing out loud in the car, physically singing is actually really good for releasing this endorphins. So it's this premise in your mind like, oh, today's going to be pretty stressful. I'm going to get the endorphins firing through physical action in the morning. And then maybe after work, if you think, okay, I'm being stressed today, again, you've got to get it out of you. And if you only have 2 minutes, just go to the floor and do as many presses as you can in a row. Like that in itself would release a ton of endorphins. But you just have to have this idea of like, we're supposed to be like physical animals. And now we're like this all the time, scroll the phone, drink the wine, eat the chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, even on a micro level, if I was feeling a bit stressed at one point in the day because something's come in, would getting down and doing 50 press-ups, would that help?
100%. Biochemically, endorphins would flood your brain and they're like, all right, stress is here. We need to get this out of him. And then the endorphins would come through. But now it's like, I'm stressed. So then it's like, I feel stressed. So it's distract yourself with social media feed, which is then just further exacerbating the problem.
Everyone listening right now, press-up challenge coming your way.
Press-ups every day, though.
If you don't want press-ups, maybe tuck jumps, maybe...
tuck jumps would be good. Star jumps. Squats.
Yeah, squats.
We have to go back to
sit against the wall, wall sit.
Wall sit. You want to rep the muscle, though. Repping the muscle would be good for the endorphins. So the press-up would be best. Or the squat.
Rep the muscle. Get down and give us 10. Right. Bad email coming. Get down and give us 10.
Yeah, that's how you can treat your whole workforce. Bad email, bang, 10 press-ups. Okay, I'm ready to go. You'd be more hungry to fight.
To be fair, this is how the world works. The world deals in problems.
Yeah.
It's nothing smooth. Things always usually take a little bit longer.
Part of life.
You know, and we got to learn to deal with them. And if you can, in the moment, do a little bit of physical activity, the way you'll deal with them is better. That's what we're saying. Yeah,
you'll just approach things calmer. Like say, for example, you had a really stressful day and you're thinking, like, oh, I don't want to bring this stress back to my home, like with my wife and my kids and stuff. If there's even if it was like, okay, so I can't work out tonight, but I'm just going to get off the tube at a shorter stop, so I have to walk an extra 10 minutes. Just the more your body physically moves, the more endorphins, the more calm you'll feel. And it's just important to have these ideas in your mind so you don't go for the less healthy solutions to your pain.
You've given us some really good direction here on what we can do as part of the challenge. I'm up for the challenge as well, so You've educated me on this. I've got a few simple questions for you.
Yeah.
What's your definition of happiness?
Feeling calm, to me, would probably be my definition of happiness. Feeling like calm and satisfied.
So that means you're good at press-ups then, because every stress that comes in, remember press-ups, they get you calm, they get you dealing with stress.
Yeah, I would say, I did have a point where I probably would have said like achievement and stuff, because I was like really thinking, I need to achieve loads. But then I realised after achieving some things that I was really excited about, that wasn't actually going to be the happiest stuff for me. Calm seems to be happy.
Look, you're 28. You're beginning to make a big impact. Thanks. Honestly, you're what you're going to achieve in the next 10 years, I'm going to be looking forward to seeing that. Who've been the 3 biggest trusted advisors in your life?
Wow, that's a good question. For my career, Jay Shetty has been phenomenal.
What have you learned from him?
to make phenomenal content has been a massive thing, to like deeply prioritize making phenomenal content. And then also that no one is going to do anything for you, no matter how much people promise you. Your level of success is purely dependent on your own decisions and actions, and that's been massive for me. I would say my dad has been super inspiring. I go to him with lots of different aspects of work, and from so young he bought us these things called night books, and we had to like write in these night books every night what we dreamed of in our future. And I was like 5 years old, and I'd have to repeat it to Dad, and it'd be all kinds of random stuff. And he programmed us with this sentence: we become what we think about. And when we were kids, I'd be like 4 years old, I'd be like, I'm thinking about being a toilet. And he'd be like, oh, then you're going to become a toilet, because my brain was like unable to comprehend. And then gradually that sentence stuck in my mind, and now I have real vision as to what I'd like my life to look like, and I spend lots of time dreaming of it because of his advice. So
amazing man.
He's been phenomenal. My mum also massively inspired how I speak on stage. I love speaking on stage. It's probably my favorite activity in the world of anything now. And my mum had this has this beautiful lightness and humor and ability to engage an audience. And when I speak, I sometimes realize that I'm basically just emulating the style I watched growing up. So that's been so cool.
If you could change one thing on the planet, what would you change?
The age in which kids are getting access to smartphones and iPads.
What age would you put?
If I could just decide it for the benefit of humanity, I would start all technology at 14.
14.
Yeah.
14's got to be the best age of. I mean, I'm going back in a few years now. I'm a bit older than you. 14. You don't have any serious exams at school. You're still getting pocket money off your parents. You're still hanging out with. You ain't got a care in the world at 14. This is the best age. And now we're going to give you a smartphone as well.
Yeah.
Wow, that is definitely the best age in the world.
That'd be the time to start. Right now, I mean, it's you don't want to go like negative about these things, but we're just really underestimating it. It's going to be a really sad journey to come with giving the kids the phones and the iPads too young. And change will happen, and we'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Let's all start to delay these. But I think it's the most important thing in the world. I think we're going to see a whole generation struggle to contribute economically because their brains are damaged by the dopamine.
For the dose effect, the challenge that you've laid down to people, I'm going to take that challenge on, actually.
You've got to do phone-free first thing, your phone fasting.
Yeah, I do that anyway.
Second one is you've got to have some kind of oxytocin hit every day. So that's like a long hug with someone you love. That would be a really good oxytocin hit, longer than usual. Serotonin, you've got to try 24 hours without an ultra-processed food. And the endorphins, maybe you could commit to press-ups every day, 20 press-ups every day.
Every stressful incident to get down and do 28, you're going to be ripped, guys.
Life is stressful, but press-ups are good. Or squats, if you prefer squats.
Yeah. What's been your favourite part of this interview?
I would say your excitement and energy.
Okay, there we go. Here it is. You're a good man, TJ. Here's to your future. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Starting your own business was an exciting time, wasn't it? The good days you had and the bad. You knew you'd have to work hard, but you did it for your future. Lately, though, you're missing out on the important things in life. Time seems to be slipping by. So make the change. Claim back your work-life balance and grow your business today. Visit actioncoach.co.uk